Alright, what's up guys, Fuffin here, and in this series, I'm going to try and help out some new players with getting into Teamfight Tactics Set 4. This video will give a ton of information to you guys, some of it you may know, some of it you may not know, but if you're looking for something specific, I'll have a timetable in the description. In this video, I'll also give you all the information you need to start up. So if you guys like this one, be sure to like it, and you can subscribe to see the more advanced guide that I'll be putting out a little bit later. So Teamfight Tactics is a game in the auto chess genre where you control a small avatar and build up an army to defeat 7 other players in a free-for-all matchup. With that little tidbit of information out of the way, let's get started with the opening carousel. So when you first load into the game, you'll see your avatar or little legend on a platform directly in the bottom center of your screen. Your 7 opponents' little legends will be on separate platforms surrounding the center stage that you're on. There will be small figures known as champions circling this stage. This area and these actions are known to players as the Carousel. Above each of the champions, there will be an icon representing the current item that that champion is holding, and items may only be removed from their respective champions through selling a champion. There are ways to do this outside of normal means, but I'll be covering that in the advanced video. After a short delay, the light barrier surrounding the platform will open up, and you can select whichever unit you want by simply running into the champion with your little legend. If your little legend creates a light tether and starts dragging the unit behind you, and if you hear this sound, then you've successfully selected that champion. It should also be noted that once a unit is selected, no other player may select the same unit. So if someone gets to the champion you want before you do, you're going to have to select a different unit. If you have not selected a unit, when the timer at the top runs out, you'll be given a random unit left over from the carousel. That should be everything covering the opening carousel, so we'll move on to the first actual stage. So after you finish up with the opening carousel, you'll be moved to your arena. At the top of your screen, you'll see icons showing the round number, which at this point should be 1-2, and a few icons that we'll go over later along with a timer. You'll also see that your unit is on a rectangular platform in front of you. This is known as the bench, and it's got 9 slots where your unit can be placed. To allow your unit to participate in combat, you need to move it from your bench and place it into the area in front of it. This is known as your board. You can think of this concept as the bench being your hand in a card game and the board being your cards currently in play. Upon placing the unit on the board, you'll notice a few icons appear on the left side of your screen. These are your traits and origins. Each of these will grant an effect to your board when you have an adequate number of units that share the common trait. To find out what units you may need, you can right-click on the icons to see more information. If you're ever curious about something you may not understand in TFT, you can highlight it with your mouse or click most things and there will probably be more information. My advice is to just click everything. It is a really good way to get all the information presented to you right then and there. In addition to this, you'll see a few smaller units on the opposite side of your board standing idle. These are known as either mobs, enemies, or minions. These aren't players, but instead are units that'll drop you new items, gold, and other champions. It's usually pretty hard to lose to these. Just don't sell your current champion in the beginning and add a new champion to your board when you can, and you'll win. When your champion slays one of these units, they have a chance to drop a white common orb, a blue uncommon orb, or a gold rare orb. Simply move your little legend over these orbs to absorb them and grab their contents. So when we get to the next round, you'll notice a new window open up on your screen. This is your shop where you can purchase new champions, level up your little legend, and store your gold. I know it looks like a lot at first, so I'm gonna break it down bit by bit. So first, on the far left, it'll show your level, and directly under that, you'll see a bar noting the amount of experience you have and how much you need to reach your next level. Directly below that are 2 boxes stating buy XP and refresh with their gold costs. To the top right, you'll see a few dots, colors, and percentages. I'll go into this later in the video and also more in the advanced video, but for now you don't have to worry about them. Directly to the right of that, you will see your current gold. To the right of that, you'll see your streak indicator. This will remain gray until you begin fighting players, so we'll cover it more then. And all the way to the right, you will see a pinkish purple icon. This is your chosen indicator that I'll discuss more later, and right next to that, you'll have your lock bar. The lock bar will lock your shop options, so we're gonna get into how the shop actually works, so it makes sense in a second here. So when you get a new shop, you'll have 5 champion portraits, with their appropriate information displayed as a shop option. To purchase a champion, you just need to have enough gold in your pouch, shop, whatever you want to call it, and you just left click to purchase them, or you can drag them onto the main portion of your screen. Either one will work, it's just a matter of preference on how people choose to buy things. But when you buy a champion, they'll appear on your bench and may be used just like any other unit. Every turn, your shop will have new champions for you to choose, unless you've clicked the lock bar that we saw earlier. For most players, you won't be using this, but just know once you press it, if it remains pressed by the end of the round, your shop will not change next turn. You may also notice by now that on the opponent side of the field, you'll have an indicator noting a fraction. This is the amount of units you're able to put on your team, and it is directly related to your Little Legends level. So in this case, you should be level 2, as such you'll only be able to place 2 units. This will be the case until you gain more levels. So the way leveling works is you need to either pay gold to gain experience points at a rate of 4 XP per 4 gold spent, or alternatively, you can just wait and the game will naturally give you 2 XP at the end of every round. While we're here, we can also make note of the refresh button under the gain XP button. This will, as you may have guessed, refresh the champions currently in your shop. They will still be replaced at the end of the round with new ones like usual, but this just allows that option in the middle of your turn instead. I think that's it for this round though, so let's move on to the final PvE, or player versus environment round. So in this round, you may notice that you have some champions in your shop have a different color and a different cost. Upon hitting level 3, you will have access to these new 2-cost units. In this game, there are 5 different tiers of units, all associating with a different corresponding gold cost. There's the gray 1 cost, the green 2 cost, blue 3 cost, purple 4 cost, and gold 5 cost. They will have varied chances to drop in shop, and the higher level that you are, the higher chance that you'll get for these more expensive units. The percentage drop chance for these is always seen on your shop for your current level, and you can always find it here. The final thing to note with champions and the shop is that upon purchasing 3 of the same champion, they will combine into a 2-star version of itself, gaining bonus stats, dealing more damage, and having more health. In TFT, any given unit can be upgraded to a 3-star version of itself from a total of 9 identical units. These units can be either on the bench, board, or both to combine. Another thing you may have noticed by now is all of your items gained from the PvE round will flow over to the Little Legends platform. This is where your little legend will return to at the end of every round. You can drag your items with left click to place them on your units, giving them the bonus stats, or you can right click to gain more information. The information you see on these items is another way that you can customize your team. By combining any of these 2 items, we also call components, you'll gain a new item with a bonus effect outside of the stats. It should be noted that as long as the item does not have the word unique in the gray text box, you may place up to 3 copies onto one unit. Any unit may hold 3 items in their slots. Combining any items on champions will go from 2 components using 2 slots to 1 item in 1 slot. You cannot have 2 components on one champion, as they will always combine. Be sure to remember this when you decide to give a unit item. That should be all we have to cover on this, so we're going to move on to the next stage. Alright, so while I was editing the video, I left out some information about the chosen champion. So to make a long story short, a chosen champion has 2 of its specific traits. So if you had like a sharpshooter chosen, you would be able to have 2 sharpshooter traits instead of 1 for just your 1 champion. And in your shop, it'll always be 3 times the cost of the base 1-star champion, but it will automatically be a 2-star. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, and we'll move on to the next part. So coming into stage 2, you can see the icons on the top have changed. You'll see a pattern of 3 PvP icons, followed by the carousel icon, then 2 more PvP icons, and then 1 final icon. As the name suggests, PvP icons will note the rounds in which you'll fight other players. The carousel will be the new carousel that I'll explain here in a bit, and the final icon is a PvE round like you fought before. This pattern will repeat until the game is over. Once you've loaded into stage 2-1, you'll begin your planning phase. This is just the name for all the time that's not being done fighting. After the timer at the top reaches 0, you'll begin to fight one of the players seen on your right. You'll notice in most cases, everyone will have 100 next to their name. This 100 is their health points, so when someone reaches 0 or under, they're out of. Now, to understand who you'll be fighting, there's a whole algorithm that I'll go over in the advanced video, but for now, just know that you'll be fighting different people at each round of the stage. When the timer reaches 0, either a little legend and his board will be transported to your arena, or a portal portal will open up and your board will be transported to an opponent's arena. Here, it'll be a few short moments before your team and your opponent's team will begin combat. During combat, each unit will be attempting to reduce the enemy's green health bar to 0. You may notice some units gaining additional white health. These are shields which will be depleted before health is subtracted. Under your health and shield bar, there will be a mana bar. Attacking and getting attacked will allow some champions to gain mana. Upon reaching full mana, they will cast their ultimate. Each champion's ultimate can be seen in the tooltip for that respective champion. There are other times where champions will have no mana or something replacing it, but just read up on those champions if you see them and you'll notice if they have no mana bar. At the end of combat, the loser will be dealt damage based on the number of units left behind by the enemy. You'll notice a projectile fire from one little legend to the next. This projectile will deal the damage before the round concludes, and it'll administer the new health total, which will be seen on the far right of your screen next to the little legend icon that it's associated with. The winner of combat will also be awarded 1 extra gold, and this is where I need to mention another big thing in this game. To sum it up, there's an economy system that is in play at this game. For every 10 gold that you have, you will gain 1 bonus interest gold at the beginning of the next round. This bonus only goes up to 50 gold at a rate of 1 bonus interest gold per 10. So even if you have 100 gold or 1,000 gold or 50 gold, the maximum you'll gain is a +5. You can keep track of your own interest gold and all of your opponent's current interest gold that they will be getting in front of the little legend platform on the left of your screen and on the right of all opponents. Winning or losing rounds consecutively will begin streaking. You gain bonus gold for win or loss streak, and upon a win streak, your little legend icon on the right will be set on fire and your streak announced. There is no indicator for a loss streak, however, so just keep that in mind. Aside from the economy and back to damage, the little legend with the higher health totals will be at the top and the lower health totals will be further toward the bottom. This is going to be important when we discuss the next carousel, which we'll get to right now. So unlike the opening carousel where all players are released at once, only 2 players will be released every few seconds. This is starting with the lowest health total and working its way up the ladder. You may select your champ as normal, and the same rules apply if you don't select a unit by the end of the round. So there's not much more to say on this carousel besides that they will always consist of components up until stage 5. The carousel at 5-4 will always contain full combined items, and at 6-4 it will always contain a combination of components and full items. Currently there's no information regarding 7-4, but games don't typically last that long and it's easy to assume that 6-4 and 7-4 will share the same rules. After this carousel you have just 2 more PvP rounds until the PvE round, which I'll jump to right now. The final round of every stage will end with a different PvE enemy. Now beating this enemy will give you bonus items, gold, and champion. The enemies you can expect to see here are Krugs, Wolves, Raptors, Nexus Minion, and Rift Herb. Krugs will heal each other upon dying, Wolves will jump to the back of your team at the start of combat, Raptors will grow in size and gain bonus stats upon one's death, and the final 2 have significantly higher health and abilities, but will always give 1 to 3 complete items. So that's going to be it for this basic guide of TFT. I know I didn't talk a lot about positioning or team compositions, but this guide is just specifically for people who are very new to the game and are having a little bit of time digesting all the information. I know I covered a lot, so like I said in the beginning of the video, if you were confused about anything, I have all the timestamps down in the description. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would love to read them down in the comments. Right now, I am in the process of writing the script for part 2 of the video, which will be covering more of the advanced things with TFT, such as comp building, positioning, etc., along with more specific systems that are in set 4. So if you think I missed anything in this guide, be sure to tell me in the comments so I can add it in the next video no matter what. Currently the video is in the early stages of production, so I would absolutely love to be able to fit everything in there, but if I don't get things done in the first and second, I may make a third, pro guide or something. Anyway, I'll just stop rambling there. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.